Hello and welcome back. Dear learners, it is very interesting that you must be learning about various aspects of Russian language. We have discussed the origin of the Russian language, the Russian alphabet, consonants and vowels, and many other things when we started discussing about the Russian phonetics. Further, we have also discussed the usage of several other aspects, like when these consonants and vowels are being pronounced individually as well as when they are clubbed together. We have also discussed the role of verbs, as they are identified by their endings and accordingly they are being conjugated. We have also discussed the usage of verbs of motion. Further, we have seen and understood the usage of verbs of motion with prefixes. Later on, we also discussed the usage of several cases in Russian. We have seen the usage of именительный падеж and предложный падеж. We have also seen the usage of several other expressions in Russian, where all these cases are being introduced to you, like винительный падеж, дательный падеж, родительный падеж, and the last one, instrumental case, as it is called in Russian, творительный падеж. We have seen the usage of adjective and noun endings, as in Russian we have masculine gender, feminine gender and the neuter gender. All these three genders are being discussed as nouns as well as when they are used with adjectives in the именительный падеж as well as in the prepositional case or the предложный падеж. We have further used several other expressions in Russian with the help of dialogues and texts. As now we are discussing the usage of several expressions in Russian. We will be discussing more about such expressions which are widely and daily used in Russian speech. Now, as we have promised you in the last lesson that we will be discussing more about many such interesting cultural things of Russia. Today, we will be discussing more about this interesting aspect which is known as the Russian cuisine. Before that, let us find out a few more expressions which are used in Russian, then we will take you to the world of Russian cuisine or Russkaya kuchnya. So, here we have several expressions like happy birthday, merry Christmas and happy new year. Here these three expressions are widely used. Поздравляю вас с днем рождения. I wish you or I congratulate you with happy birthday or the day of your birth, as it is being translated word to word from Russian. Поздравляю вас с днем рождения. Here it is a fine example of usage of the instrumental case. We have used с днем рождения. Рождение, it means birth. День рождения, day of birth or birthday as we know in English. Accordingly, you can also use the other expressions merry Christmas, с Рождеством and new year as с Новым годом, and you can always use поздравляю. Я поздравляю вас. Я вас поздравляю с днем рождения. Я вас поздравляю с Новым годом or Рождеством. So, these three important aspects and expressions must be learned and be used and pronounced in a correct manner. Please remember them by heart. Let us repeat once again so that you can understood the meaning of and the exact pronunciation of these expressions. Я поздравляю вас с днем рождения. Я поздравляю вас с Рождеством. Я поздравляю вас с Новым годом. So, these kind of expressions now you know and now you have learned and you must use them in your own communication as and when you need to use them. Well, now let us go to a few more expressions. Please look at the slide here. Here we have used a few more such expressions like best wishes, всего хорошего, Я желаю вам всего хорошего. I wish you all the best. Всего хорошего can also be used in this context. Accordingly, you can also use good luck as удачи. Удачи вам. Good luck to you. Удачи вам. Счастливого пути. Пути счастливого. And всего хорошего. These kind of expressions can also be used. For saying have a nice day, we have желаю вам хорошего дня. Я желаю вам хорошего дня. I wish you that you have a nice day. So, the short form of this you can always use as хорошего дня. And then we have приятного аппетита. This is one of the most important expression we use in Russian. Приятного аппетита. This is an equivalent of bon appetit as we used in other language, which actually means have a nice meal. Please pay attention to the usage and the pronunciation. Приятного аппетита. And then we have happy journey. How do we use it in Russian? As счастливого пути or пути счастливого. Now, dear learners, you have learned a few more such expressions like поздравляю вас с Новым годом, с Рождеством, с днем рождения, as well as пути счастливого, хорошего дня, etc. You must use these expressions when you speak Russian in your day-to-day communication with your friends and family. Let us go to the next section now and understand a few more such important expressions. Here we have compiled a list of such important words which are being used in family. Since family is one of the most important aspect of our life, that is why here there are several important words. For family in Russian we have семья. For parents we use the word родители and it is in plural. Since in Russian родитель means parent and we always use it in plural as родители. Мои родители живут в Delhi. My parents live in Delhi. Or мои родители ездили в Москву. My parents had gone to Moscow. So, you can use accordingly these expressions like this. Then we have babushka as grandmother, dedushka as grandfather, mach as mother and отец as father. You must be knowing and at large that you have understood the meaning and the gender of these words and nouns. But in Russian, as there are several such nouns which might confuse you, like this one, mach. It ends with ten soft sign and it belongs to the feminine gender, since it is an equivalent of mama we have used in Russian. So, это моя мать, это мой папа. So, this you must remember because they are beyond the rules. Like we know that in feminine gender all nouns which ends with a, ya and iya, but papa is of masculine gender. Likewise, mach which ends with soft sign, but it does belong to the feminine gender. That is why we use with моя mama, это моя mama, this is my mother. And you know that when we use о чем and о ком, for example, я думаю о ком, and we have this noun mach. What do? We use it as я думаю о своей матери, and accordingly we also have a noun like дочь which means daughter, and accordingly это ваша дочь, это моя дочь, это наша дочь, etc. can be used. So, let us now go to the next slide. Here we have also a few more important words like жена which means wife, муж which means husband, тетя which means aunt, дядя means uncle. Here we have used дядя, but since it is ending with ya, it does not belong to the feminine gender, it belongs to the masculine gender, and we use eta moi jia, eta moi jia, not eta maya jia, it would be incorrect. So, please remember these important family words which are being used in Russian as eta maya tyotia, but eta moi jia. Let us pay attention to the rest of the words. We have here sistra and we have here brat. Sistra means sister and brat means brother. Then we have doch, which means daughter, syn for son, jechi, it is a plural and it means children, vnuchka, granddaughter, and vnuk for grandson. So, now dear learners, you know there are several family words. Let us repeat them once again. Родители, бабушка, дедушка, мать, отец, жена, муж, сестра, брат, дочка, сын, внучка and внук. You must also remember how they are being pronounced, and one of the most important thing is that the gender they belong to. It should not be confused with, like we have just learned, mach, it is a feminine gender, maya mach, jia, it is a masculine gender, that is why moi jia. So, accordingly you will be using all of these words correctly. Let us now go to the next slide, and here since we have promised you that we will be discussing about the Russian cuisine. In Russia, we have a very rich cuisine, Russian cuisine, and it is called Russkaya kuchnya. This cuisine of Russia is distinctive and unique, and as any other national one, it was formed under the influence of different environmental, social, geographical, economical and historical factors. As you know that in Russia, it is a country which is very big with a very large landmass, as well as we have different time zones, and that is why we have a big flora and fauna, and accordingly from region to region we have different cuisines in Russia. Since there are several important cultural elements found everywhere in the world which are of Russian origin, like the samovar, it is kind of a kettle which is used to boil tea. So, tea is another important aspect, that is why they have called it samovar, which boils by itself, samavarich. Accordingly, we have the usage of meod, that is honey. For sweetener they use honey for several years. Now, sugar is more important and more prevalent, and that is why it is called as called in English as sakhar in Russian. Then they have their own many festivals like the New Year, the Christmas and other such important old festivals. There they use their vast variety of foods and drinks. We will be discussing about these foods and drinks which are very popular in Russia, right from the soup to the main course and to the drinks. Let us find out what are the important aspects of Russian cuisine. Please pay attention to the slide. As we know that there are numerous dishes made of dough as pies, cake, rolls and blini, as well as there are a lot of new important things which are found in Russian cuisines like dumplings, homemade noodles, as well as there are many soups. There are also vegetarian and non-vegetarian cuisines found in Russian, such as they also use mushrooms, pickles, etc. Being an Orthodox Christian religion, this country, which implies numerous fasts, they always have various category of food. The Russian culinary palate is also rich in meat, poultry and fish dishes, which are served on various occasions. Here, if we pay attention to the first one, this is one of the most important dish of Russia known as blini. As blini called, they are used from the symbol of blin, which is symbol of sun, and that is why it is widely used as pancake. but in Russia it symbolizes an important aspect of Russian cooking. As we know that these blini, which are cooked on different occasions, Russians eat them on different times of the day as dessert, snack or even the main course. Blinis are served with following such as sour cream, honey, salmon, caviar and many other ingredients. As we have been talking about, there are several festivals. One of them is Maslenitsa or the Butter Week. In Maslenitsa or the Butter Week, people readily eat blini, as since it has derived its name from blin, which symbolizes the sun, and that is why they are comprised of one of the most important festival of Russia, and blini is a part of very Russian life. That is why whenever in Russia you must try blini. Please pay attention to the next slide. Here we have given an example of soup, as called in Russian as borscht. Borscht is a type of soup. In Russian, soup is called soup. Borscht is a very popular soup in many East European countries as well. You can recognize it by the reddish purple color and sour sweet taste, as beetroot is very widely used in the preparation of borscht. In Russia, this soup is known has been made for hundreds of years. Borscht was the favorite soup of the royals like Catherine the Great and Alexander II. It was loved by the writer Nikolai Gogol as well as by ballerina Anna Pavlova, since they were very fond of it as high calorie soups served with goose. There are a lot of different kinds of borscht recipe. The main ingredient of this soup are beets or the beetroot. Traditional borscht is cooked with meat or possibly poultry. But you can also find these days that there is a huge variety of borscht is available in vegetarian version. The other vegetables include cabbage, carrot, potatoes, onions and tomatoes, and in some regions it might also be include kidney beans, apples, turnips, vegetables and marrows. As borscht is traditionally spiced with garlic, herb and sour cream. So, there is a lot of variety of borscht. So, understanding the borscht as a soup of Russia, we must also try them with different flavors and with different ingredients. Now, let us go to the next slide and understand there are several other soups such as shi. Shi is a soup in Russia with numerous variety. There is also shi made of sauerkraut or green shi with sorrel, spinach or nettle. Shi has been known in Russia since 9th century and cabbage was first brought to Russia from the Byzantia. Due to its simplicity, it has become the quite common meal prepared by different strata of society. So, shi as a cabbage soup or used with a vast variety of different ingredients of vegetables in Russia. Shi is now a household soup in Russia. As you know that in Russia, soup is very important aspect because the climate is cold. That is why all these soups are eaten when hot, and that is why whenever you are going to visit Russia, you might also have an opportunity to try one. Let us now go to the next slide. Seer Niki. As you know that it has derived from seer, which means cheese. Like in India or in other parts of the world, we have cheese as cottage cheese or farmer cheese, but in Russia seer has its own different category. As a milk product, it has been used in vast variety of food. One example is Seer Niki. Since it is one of the most important and popular dish in Russian cuisine, they are prepared in small pancakes, which is filled with cottage cheese, and that is why they are called Seer Niki. Usually people eat them for breakfast or as a dessert served with jam, sour cream, etc. are also used with Seer Niki. The same Seer Niki, as we have discussed, that derives from the word seer, which means cheese in Russian. The main ingredients are cottage cheese, egg and flour, but we often cook sweet Seer Niki with raisins or dried apricots. It is very tasty to cook them with bananas. The next dish in the Russian cuisine is Kasha. one of the most important and common dishes in the Russian cuisine, known to Russia since times immemorial. Kasha is not only oatmeal, it is everything what is made of whole grain like the buckwheat, oats, wheat, millet, barley, rice, etc. As a main ingredient, it has been used for centuries in Russia. As a result, here are so many varieties of kasha available in Russia, and accordingly they are being prepared in different ways. It might be cooked in the morning for breakfast or served as a side dish or even as a main meal in the evening, like we have just learned about the blini. The next dish, which is very important and very tasty, is known as pelmeni. Pelmeni or meat dumplings are extremely popular in Russia, but historically the dish has Eastern origin. The word pelmeni is derived from two words of Finno-Ugarian language. For those people who like this, dumplings mean not only delicious meal, but also an important component of archaic ritual. Dumplings were very popular in Siberia, and later in the 14th century they were discovered by the Russian explorers. The next dish, which is very important, is Warnecke. Warnecke are stuffed dumplings which are very popular in Russia. These dumplings are made of unleavened dough and stuffed with various savory and sweet fillings. The word Warnecke literally means boiled thing, as dumplings are cooked in boiling water. Here another important and very tasty dish available in Russian cuisine is called Pirogue. Pirogue is a big pie which could have savory or sweet filling. There is a great number of Pirogue recipes. Besides a huge variety of dough, leaveners, puff or sponge, there are also different types of Pirogue, such as open with filling on the top, closed with filling inside, or simply layered. Some kind of Pirogues are specially prepared for certain celebrations such as matchmaking or other ceremonies. Here in Russia, there is a type of important aspect of Russian cuisine, a dish called varenye, or you can simply translate it as the jam. It is very popular in Russia, and the jam is being made in almost every house in Russia. They are being made out of strawberries, apricots, cherry, raspberry and other fruits and berries of the season. Here we have one of the important drinks of Russia, which is known as kvass. Kvass is a traditional Russian beverage, and it is quite refreshing and mostly prepared during the summer. It is also known as fermented rye bread drink. Dear learners, after learning so much about many important aspects of the Russian cuisine, in this course we have discussed many important aspects right from the beginning. We discussed about the origin of the Russian language as a Slavic language, language of the elites, language of the common, and then when Lomonosov treated this language as Moskovsky Государственный литературный язык. We have found that how Russian is started its journey and then became one of the widely spoken language in the world. It has earned the reputation of one of the official language of the United Nations as well. Now Russia is being officially spoken in many parts of the world, especially in the Central Asia, the Commonwealth of Independence of States, as well as in many parts of the world. We have also seen that how Russia is gaining its popularity, as many Russian celebrities, companies and sportspersons are earning names in the world. As we know that in Russian grammar, since it is one of the most toughest language in the world, but with the help of right fundamental and rules learned, it becomes simple. We have also attempted to make it clear to you the usage of the Russian phonetics. With the help of combination of vowels and consonants, with the help of examples, you have learned them in a right and correct manner. We have also taught you various aspects of the pronouns, like the personal pronouns ya, ti, on, ana, mui, vi, ani, and possessive pronouns nash, vash, yivo, yo, ik, and moi, toi, and the usage of soi. The demonstrative pronouns like etat, eta, eto, and etye. We have also seen the usage of masculine gender, feminine gender and neuter gender nouns. The usage of shto and kto, the usage of akom and atyom, the difference between akom and atyom and kto and shto with various examples. We have discussed the days of the week. We have also discussed the cardinal and ordinal numbers. We have also discussed months of the year. We have also tried discussing about the usage of many other cases in Russian except the iminichilny padyesh, predlozhny padyesh and minichilny padyesh. We have also seen the usage, how do we use verbs in Russian. We have also discussed the usage of glagoli dvizhenia in Russian with prefixes as well. Along with this all, we have also tried discussing, and now in a very detailed manner you learn many expressions right from Zdravstvuyte, Dobroye Utro, Dobry den, Dobry vecher, etc., and along with many other important aspects of the Russian language, as you know how and when to use these expressions by yourself. With the help of dialogues and text, we always introduce you to many Russian names along with several situations where you can use these expressions in a best and appropriate manner. With the help of all these style of teaching, we tried making all these important expressions, words, verbs in an efficient manner, so that you can understand Russian in a better and efficient manner. And at the end, we also introduce you to the great Russian culture with the help of introduction to the Russian cuisine. Dear learners, we always strive to give you the best, and so that you can also understand the nuances of the Russian phonetics, the Russian grammar, the basic structure of the language, its nature and the usage of expressions. We hope and we believe that you must have enjoyed your learning of Russian, and now with this we conclude this course. Thank you.